Let's travel back to the land of SAGA for a final time, playing the fourth and last Final Fantasy monikered game on the Game Boy. They've all been phenomenal up to this point, from a technical as well as a storytelling standpoint. The story in Legend 3 is pretty cool as well. You can time travel in this one, which is always interesting to see how it's dealt with. You play as a guy called Arthur, a good strong hero's name, who was sent back to the present from the future to help destroy a creature called the Pure Land Water entity that has engulfed the world in a great flood. You have to travel between the past, present and future to collect all the parts of your ship, the Talon, which will then help you defeat the entity. The gameplay is quite similar to the second game. The classes are the same. The monsters still need to eat meat to mutate into various forms, but now any mortal can eat the meat too, which alters their stats. The robot class from before has a similar mechanic now as well. When fighting mechanical enemies, they can sometimes drop robot parts, which you can install on your own characters to improve them. Actually, it doesn't just work for robots. You can create weird cyborg hybrids by bolting robot parts to your humans. Pretty wacky, but then that's JRPGs for you. I don't know if that was the original intention or whether the meat and parts were supposed to be class specific, but there it is. In a way, it can be quite frustrating, as anyone who's ever played one of these encounter-laden RPGs knows. After an annoying battle diversion, you tend to just rapidly mash the button until you're back on the overworld. Well, try to refrain from this, as it's all too easy to accidentally consume these parts when you might not want to. They don't always change you for the better. Remember, certain weapons and armor are only usable by certain classes. You don't want to get to a particularly tricky part and not be able to use that killer sword you've found. Just be careful and the game shouldn't get too out of hand. It's possible to jump on the overworld. Kinda strange to see that at first, but it lets you clear holes that often lead to dungeons. It also seems to reduce the number of random encounters out there, so is neat if you want to quickly progress or are backtracking. Your weapons don't wear out in this game, which, depending on your point of view, is good or bad. Sure, it saves you money and time, but that added element of realism was kind of a feature of the other two games that I didn't really mind. RPGs are often cheesable if you're prepared to work the grind enough, but this one is rather too easy. You can set your support characters, the other three in your party, to auto mode, similar to how you can in Dragon Quest games, and they'll use their own intuition and strengths to help you out. For instance, for my first run through, I had a strong warrior type with a ton of attack power, auto-attacking everything, a mage type who auto-cast everything, and a guy dedicated entirely to healing spells. They do a pretty good job too, which makes grinding really quick as you don't have to go through the motions of healing or telling your companions what to do. Even easier than this, however, is a really dumb feature that allows you to speedily level up, consequence-free. You can enter a simulation room right at the start of the game and fight monsters over and over again with no risk of wiping out yourself. There's an inn literally 2 buildings away. This would be fine to teach you the gameplay mechanics, but any leveling up that you incur sticks with you. It's the equivalent of hacking away at a man made of hay bales for 20 years until you're suddenly skilled enough to slay a dragon. Again, I don't know if this was intended or an oversight, but it's pretty dumb. Not only levels, but money too. You can easily earn all the money you'll ever need in the game in a couple of hours. There's not much more that's particularly negative about Final Fantasy Legend 3 though. I adore the storyline, it's such a captivating journey. Delightful little tidbits are scattered throughout, like the times when you meet an older version of a character that you met in an earlier time period. The graphics are as accomplished as the second game, and the sound is, of course, exquisite. I'm not a huge fan of the equipment screen, it can be a little hard to decipher at times, but it's functional enough. Take my advice and don't spend a whole lot of time on grinding, as it totally kills the challenge. As with all of the previous 3 Final Fantasy games on the Game Boy, not only is Legend 3 excellent, it's downright essential. Thanks so much for watching this video. The Kickstarter for the book is now live. Check the link in the description for how you can back the project and be the first to get your hands on the Portable Power Encyclopedia, featuring more than 900 Game Boy game reviews and a whole wealth of useful information on the world's favorite handheld console. See you later on.